What really happened that night under Seoul's glowing skyline? When Park Jin-young and Kim Yoo-jung were spotted walking side by side beneath the city lights, whispers spread faster than the wind. Was it just a coincidence? Friendly meeting after work, or the start of something more? Their quiet laughter, the way they moved in sync, and that unguarded moment caught on camera have left fans questioning everything. Let's uncover what truly lies behind their mysterious late-night rendezvous. It began with a single photograph. A flash in the dark, one careless burst of light that painted two silhouettes in silver against the rain. The image was grainy, the angle wrong, the focus trembling. But the story? Too perfect. Under the glow of Seoul's midnight skyline, Yoonji and Soo-hyun walked side by side, heads tilted close, a quiet laughter visible even through the mist. It was one of those moments that might have meant nothing, until someone captured it. The next morning, that picture was everywhere. "Secret rendezvous," screamed the headlines. Top stars spotted together after midnight. Within hours, the photo had millions of views. The hashtags glowed red hot, Yoonji Soo-hyun, city lights couple, caught together. And for a moment, the entire internet leaned in, holding its breath. For years, Yoonji and Soo-hyun had been two halves of different worlds. He, the meticulous perfectionist, a quiet actor whose eyes spoke more than his scripts. She, the nation's eternal muse, the kind of beauty that seemed untouchable, all grace and mystery. They had met before, briefly, award shows, brand shoots, the polite nods exchanged between strangers orbiting the same sun. But it wasn't until last winter, during a joint campaign for a luxury brand, that something shifted. The commercial had been simple: two people walking through Seoul's empty streets, neon lights flickering across their faces, a soft instrumental score behind them. The concept, love in silence. Irony, it seemed, was fate's favorite toy. When the camera rolled that first night, something happened that no director could manufacture. The way she looked at him, unsure yet certain, fragile yet fearless, changed the air around them. He responded, not with performance, but instinct. Every take after that was realer than it should have been. The director whispered after the third shot, "Don't move. Just stay in that moment." He did. They both did. The footage aired a month later. Viewers called it too natural. That was the beginning. When the rain fell that March night, no one expected them to be together again. The brand shoot had ended. Their schedules no longer aligned. And yet, there they were, under the same neon umbrellas forgotten, walking side by side down the narrow Hanok Street. She wore an oversized coat, the collar raised high. He kept his head low, hands buried in his pockets. Still, the rhythm of their steps betrayed them, matching, steady, quiet. A street vendor later told a tabloid reporter, "Act like lovers. They acted like people who'd known each other too long to pretend they weren't." That quote made it into every article the next day. Soo-hyun's agency released a statement first. They met coincidentally after an event. "There's nothing more." Yoonji's management echoed it, "Close colleagues only." But words couldn't erase what people had already seen, the way their reflections in puddles had leaned closer than their bodies did, the way her smile had reached her eyes. Fans posted comparisons, frame by frame, between the photo and their commercial together. Same lighting, same feeling, one wrote. Never stopped filming. Within 24 hours, fandom split. Some defended, some denied, most obsessed. Theories sprouted like vines: secret project, hidden relationship, scripted PR move. And somewhere, between speculation and silence, the truth waited quietly, too delicate to explain. Soo-hyun scrolled through the chaos from her apartment balcony, the city shimmering below. Her phone vibrated every few seconds: messages, missed calls, interview requests. Screen lit up with his name. She hesitated. Then she answered. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. She tried to sound light. "Define okay." "I didn't mean for this to happen," he said. "I know." There was a pause, the kind that carried 1,000 words. Rain tapped against her railing. "They're saying we planned it," she whispered. "That we wanted attention." He exhaled, long and tired. "Let them. They don't know that I'd give anything for a moment no one else saw." Her breath caught. She turned away from the view, heart racing faster than the storm. "You shouldn't say things like that." "I didn't plan that either." Silence again. Not awkward, just heavy with things unspoken. I guess we stay quiet, she said finally. For now, he replied. But someday. Someday. He hesitated, as if measuring how much honesty the night could hold. Someday. I want the world to know that it wasn't just a photo. Didn't respond. But when she hung up, hands were trembling, not from fear, but from the strange, impossible relief of hearing someone tell the truth when lies were easier. By dawn, the rain stopped. Tabloids didn't. New angles surfaced. A taxi driver swore he saw them share an umbrella. A barista claimed they ordered 2 coffees, 1 laugh. The internet, as always, built its own reality. For Yoon-ji and Soo-hyun, the truth wasn't the noise outside, it was the memory of that quiet walk under the neon signs, where the city felt smaller and the world felt kind enough to let 2 people forget who they were. And though they would go back to their roles, their interviews, their careful smiles, that moment beneath the streetlight stayed alive between them, glowing faintly in the dark. 'Cause sometimes, what begins as rumor is simply a story the heart hasn't dared to tell yet. The storm that began with 1 photograph had now become a season. For weeks, the city couldn't stop talking. Entertainment feed pulsed with headlines. Every radio host whispered their names like secret passwords. Yoon-ji and Soo-hyun, caught again? Rumor or real? Faces, once symbols of quiet professionalism, now carried the weight of something dangerously human. First they tried to keep their distance. Their managers drew careful maps of avoidance, separate red carpet entrances, different departure gates, interviews scheduled days apart. Yet somehow, it kept folding the paper until those 2 dots touched again. A reunion happened on set, unplanned. The network had booked them for the same charity broadcast, A Night of Hope. Under the open sky. She arrived in an ivory dress. He in a dark suit that caught every light. Their eyes met backstage. Time forgot its choreography. Did they tell you I'd be here? She asked quietly. No, he said. But I think the city did. They both laughed, softly, the kind of laughter that remembers pain. The stage manager shouted for positions, the crowd roared. And suddenly they were standing side by side again. Microphones trembling in their hands. The program began. Lights flared, music swelled. And millions watched 2 people pretend not to notice each other. Halfway through a song, when she missed a lyric and he studied her cue with a single nod, something shifted again. The audience saw it. The internet saw it. And the world, hungry for truth, believed what it wanted to believe. That night's clip became legend, the silent smile moment. In slow motion, he looked at her, she smiled back. And the lights caught a flicker of relief, the kind that belongs only to those who've been hiding too long. By morning, trending tags screamed under the city lights again. Fans wrote essays about destiny, columnists wrote about honesty. Some accused them of deception, others called it courage. But through it all, neither spoke. Until one evening, a week later, when a magazine requested a joint interview. To everyone's shock, they said yes. The studio was small. The questions rehearsed, but truth has its own timing. Halfway through, the journalist asked, "What did that night mean to you both?" The one under the city lights. Soo-hyun opened her mouth to deflect, then stopped. Her gaze drifted toward Yoon-ji, who looked impossibly calm. He answered first. "It meant," he said, "that for once, I wasn't acting." A long silence followed, not awkward. Cameras hummed. Pens froze mid-air. She breathed in, and the words came without planning. "Sometimes the brightest lights show you what you were afraid to see." And that was all they said. No denial. No confession. Just 2 sentences strong enough to rewrite everything. When the interview aired, something extraordinary happened. The noise didn't grow louder, it softened. The public stopped demanding definitions. Articles shifted tone, from gossip to admiration. From speculation to understanding. The hashtags faded, replaced by quiet respect. Once, mystery felt like peace. Weeks later, on a cool April night, Yoon-ji waited by the same riverside street where it had all begun. Neon puddles mirrored the stars. Traffic sighed in the distance. When Soo-hyun arrived, bundled in a coat, he smiled. "Remember this place," he said. "How could I forget? It ruined and rescued us at the same time." He handed her a cup of coffee. "City that never keeps secrets." She laughed. And to the people who finally stopped pretending, they leaned on the railing. watching the reflection of headlights stretch across the water. Do you ever wish it hadn't happened? She asked. His head. If the world hadn't seen us, maybe we never would have seen ourselves. The wind shifted, a paper lantern floated above the bridge. Its flame small but steady. He pointed. Look, even the light knows how to stay soft. Smiled, eyes glistening. Then maybe it's time we stop hiding from it. He nodded, quietly. And for the first time, they didn't step apart when someone passed by with a phone camera. No need to run. No need to explain. The world could keep its questions, they finally had their answer. Years under the city lights, no longer a secret. No longer a rumor, just a truth finally brave enough to be seen. In the months that followed, the city found new headlines. New faces, new whispers. But for those who remembered, the story of Yoon-ji and Soo-hyun lingered like a melody that refused to fade. They were no longer the couple caught in the rain or the silhouettes beneath neon light, they were something gentler. Quieter, more real. Flashbulbs, no microphones, just two people who had learned that truth doesn't always need to be shouted. Sometimes, it just needs to be lived. So often, someone still spots them, at a cafe by the river. Or leaving a late screening, side by side. No one calls it scandal anymore. They just smile. As if witnessing the ending of a film they didn't realize they'd been watching all along. Because some stories don't fade when the credits roll. Stay, glowing softly. Like city lights reflected in rain. Thank you for following Secret Rendezvous, Under the City Lights. This story isn't about fame or rumor, it's about the fragile beauty of being seen. Of choosing honesty in a world built on illusion. Remind you that even in the loudest cities, love often speaks in whispers, not to be heard, but to be felt. One who believes in quiet courage and unspoken connection, this story is for you.